All right, back out here for part two. It's the same night. I'm just continuing on to the next video. Already starting the next part, guys. Out here grinding. Now that part's over. Now it's the fun shit. Although I might still have a little bit of grinding to do. But I've got the bed bolted back on it. I'm going to go ahead and measure for the rear end. I'm going to just put the tires under the bed once I get clearance and measure from the inside of the wheel to the other inside of the wheel on the other side, and then that'll give me the measurement for how wide the rear end needs to be. And you might be asking, well, where do you put the tires at? How do you know where to set your wheels and tires in order to measure those? Well, that's where this comes in. This is called a plumb bob. That way, once I do that, I'll know where the outside of the bed is. All I used was a shoestring and a washer. There's obviously better ones. I think Harbor Freight sells them for like $4, but I don't have any. So this works good. Yarn works better. But all I did was measure my wheel well. It is 37 inches, and then divide that in two, and that's 18 and a half. Put a little mark right there, and then hung the string, and then just set my square up there so the damn washer would stop moving, and then made a mark on the ground. And you know, you can make that bigger, obviously, get the level and trace that and make it bigger, but that way you know where the outside of your bed is. So if I take the bed back off, I'll know that I have to go inside of that, you know, obviously to clear the bed sides. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing for this side. I only have one shoelace. I don't know, I guess a guy only wears one shoe, but yeah, that's the next step. I'm gonna have to get the old plasma out, and I'm gonna start with just the stock wheel tub, cut that out, and then go from there. There are these bed braces down here that I'm gonna have to take out because they're up there bolted to the wheel tub. I think I should just be able to move them over and then drill a hole in the bed floor brace and bolt them there. That way my bed sides aren't all floppy. Yeah, moving right along. I did say earlier that people cut the outside of the bed sides. Well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna cut out my wheel tubs and bed floor. Not really my bed floor, it's the inside of the bed sides. But then you can put wheel tubs in there and you don't even know. It looks better in my opinion. Looks cooler, more race or street truck, however you would want to say. But yeah, moving right along, I'm gonna go ahead and put that plumb bob on the other side, measure that. And then I might set the wheels and tires up in there just to see how it looks. And depending on the time, it's getting kind of late, I might go ahead and cut those wheel tubs out, the stock ones. Alrighty, check it out. Obviously that's a little extreme. It won't be that low out there on the dirt, but man, that thing is freaking awesome. I still have to do the other side. All I did was just like the stock wheel tub inside. I took the plasma cutter all the way just around the stock wheel tub, and then that came out, and then there was this piece right here it goes in there like this. Your bed side is on this side, and there's a bunch of spot welds in there that you can see right there. I just drilled them out with where is it? Start with a little drill bit, then you move on to this deal, and it takes them right out. It's pretty easy, really. The hardest part was cutting through all this damn bed liner, and props to this Yes welder. It is a 55DS cut welder plasma, because that thing has like at least a 1/4 inch of freaking bed liner on it, and I'm not even joking. That shit is on there thick. It's not a Rhino linings. It doesn't have a badge or anything, but it's the thick shit. It's not like the Walmart do-it-yourself Herculiner or whatever. And that plasma is a bad mofo because it cut right through there. I didn't even have to take none of that shit off. It's still on the same tip. Sometimes it'll blow the arc out, but you just go back to cutting. And yeah, man, I'm freaking pumped. I'm about to do the other side. I just had to put a wheel and tire up there just to see, and you can see right there, it's almost, right there, it's almost flush with the damn bottom of the bed, which it won't be this low on the dirt, but I mean, I want to race this on asphalt or pavement or whatever, like the no prep shit, go up there and grudge race people. And also I'd like to eventually get like a big set of billets for it when I get coilovers. So I'm going to go as far as I can towards the frame and up. So if I want to put like a 24 by 15 inch billet on the rear, I can. And I don't even have to back half it or anything. Moving those leaf springs inside the frame give me so much more room to move the wheel in. As you can see down here, here's the frame. There's the inside of the tire. I still have a good 3.5 inches that I can go in. I just have to cut more of the bed out, the bed floor up there. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go as much as I can, like I said, and just build it big. Obviously it's overkill for these and like stocks, but I don't wanna be limited. I only wanna do this once. I don't wanna put wheel tubs in it and then cut it back out. So yeah, that's it. I'm pumped. That's exactly how I wanted it to look. On dirt, it's not gonna be that low. I think I said that 5 times now, but boy, freaking looks sweet, man. And if I didn't have that crossover in the front, I might be able to run it pretty low on the dirt. It gets rutted up out there, but then it would just be the frame dragging. The crossover for the turbo kit hangs down pretty low. This winter, I'd like to eventually move that forward to have it go down like in front of the balancer, but now I'm rambling, not talking about what I'm doing. So I'm gonna get back to work, get the other side going, and I'll pick back up when I get both of them in there and measure for the rear end width. All right, so I figure I would show you what I was doing to get these wheel tubs out. All I do is take this wire wheel. I found that it works easier than just trying to burn through that rhino lining, which that plasma will do it, but it's time consuming and takes too long. If you get it down to bare metal, it cuts a lot faster, cuts it like butter. So I just took this wire wheel. You go around the seam, you can even through this undercoating, you can see where the seam is. You take the wire wheel, go all the way around it, get it down to bare metal, and then I take that screwdriver and a hammer. Man, I'm out of breath. Because you can't get all the seam sealer off with that wire wheel because there's like a little crevice down there and you can't get down in there, and like the corners, you can't get the rhino lining and or seam sealer off in the corners. So I take that screwdriver and hammer and just trace around the whole thing and get all the seam sealer out because that shit's flammable and it will catch on fire with the plasma. Ask me how I know, but I only got a little bit left. I'll hop up in here and show you what I'm talking about, I guess. Look at all this shit. Shit's everywhere. Quite the mess. Seam sealer coming out of here. Probably what I'm gonna do when I put the other wheel tubs in it, I'll just weld it and like, you know, just little, maybe like 2-inch welds, and then just seam seal the whole tub. Scraping that seam sealer out of there. There's a lot of rust behind these things, so I'm not tearing it up, guys. I'm preventing rust. I'm doing rust prevention. I'm helping this truck last longer, all right? Probably gonna POR 15 the inside of the bed sides, and probably what I'll end up doing on the frame too. what to do with. Time consuming, but makes it cut it a lot faster. There's a little bit in there, it's alright. Try to get all the big shit out. I think we're pretty much good. On this side, I'm gonna throw the other tub that I already cut out up in there and trace it. Hopefully. Oh, might not work very well since it has that little piece on it right here from the part that was welded to the bedside, but we'll see how she works. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I don't feel like cutting all that shit off this old one. So I will just cut around the seam, but I'll probably put it on a time lapse because I know this shit's kind of boring. But yeah, here we go. All right, so I got that other one out. I just, like I said, cut around the seam, and then you have to come in here because there's this piece too. Don't worry, when I put those bed braces back on and weld the tubs in, that'll get a lot better. But there's this piece right here too that I think I mentioned that there's all these spot welds along here, and I don't want to just cut this out because in the out here would be really floppy. So I just come with a Sharpie, mark all the spot welds, and then drill it with that drill that I mentioned earlier, the little guy. It is a 5/64, and then the spot weld cutter. These things are awesome. As much as cutting spot weld sucks, that thing makes it a lot better. But I didn't want to hack the shit out of that with these wheel tubs because I might use them on something. You never know. I mean, they're not rusted out or anything, so all I would have to do is just drill the spot welds out on this deal, and then that'll come off. But if I like cut into here, then it would have to mess the wheel tub up, and I wouldn't be able to. That way, the stock size, you know, if I cut into them, then they would be all oblong and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drill those spot welds out on the other side, get that piece out, and then I went ahead and cut that. That's all the way to the frame. So I'm gonna do that over there. All I did was take a square, run it straight up from the frame, and then mark down the bed side with a level, or the bed side, the bed floor with a level. And I started from the bottom, and that way you can see, you know, where the cut is. It's a little wonky up there, but I'll come back with a flap disc and clean all that up. The plasma cutter is good, but you still have to clean it up a little bit because my hands aren't that steady. But I start on the bottom, cut up, and then put a level up here, and then grind it all down with the wire wheel, and then come back with the plasma cutter and cut it straight. It's a lot easier cutting from the top than the bottom. You don't have all the hot sparks and shit falling down on you. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that on this side too. I'll probably have to go higher up there, but I'm not gonna go doing that yet until I get the wheel tubs in that I ordered. So yeah, after this, I should be able to set both wheels and tires in here and then lower it down, crawl under, and then measure from the inside of each wheel and figure out my rear end width. So, yep, moving right along. Man, I've been wanting to do this for a while. So pumped. Hell yeah, thing's moving along. Pick back up here in a little bit when I sit it down on the ground and put the wheels and tires under it. All right, guys, little update here. I had to do some cleanup, man. I can't stand a dirty shop. It's hard to work in for me. It gets to my head when I'm stepping over stuff and tripping over stuff. And I got it all squared away. I got this side, I measured from the frame, like the front of the notch to the tire. I've moved the tires and stuff since, so if they look a little crooked, they probably are. But I measured from the frame to the tire on each side, got it 2 inches away from the frame. And then what I did was, see if you can see it. No, it's too dark, but like right there where the studs go through, I measured from there to there underneath the bed, and I got that measurement, which is 56.5 inches. And that's how wide my rear end needs to be. It is right now, I think it's about 68. So that's 12 inches of material that he's gonna have to take out of that. I hope he can do it. I'm gonna have to check to make sure, because that would suck if he can't. I'm gonna have to take it somewhere else. But yeah, moving right along. One thing, pro tip, guys. When people say use jack stands, use jack stands, because the only point that I have to jack on now is this back cross member right here where I have these jacks, and my jack doesn't go up that high, so I put a block of wood under there, and when I was letting it down, that wood rolled off and it dropped. And if those freaking jack stands weren't under there, it would have fell onto the tire up there, probably buckled the bed sides, because there's nothing to catch it. I didn't have these black jack stands back here at the time because my jack was in there, but man, I had a scare. Thank God I put those red jack stands under there, because I would have just probably buckled my bed sides and everything. That was a scare right there. But yeah, moving right along. I made a lot of progress tonight. Pretty pumped on it. Man, the thing looks freaking mean if you ask me. It's obviously not going to be that low. I just like how it looks, and it's easier to measure when it's closer up to the notch for the rear end. But yeah, I'd be a squat boy like this. I don't want that. I might have a little reverse rake to it, but not that much. Yeah, moving right along. The next step is probably to get the rear end all cleaned up. I'm going to cut all this, like all this shit off of here. I don't know what that is. Something from when the rear end was underneath the leaf springs. Oh, excuse me. And then I'm going to have to cut all these shock tabs off. I'm going to leave these on there, because obviously when I go to mount it in there, I'm going to have to move these in because the leaf springs are in here now. So I'm going to get that angle gauge, hopefully under Harbor Freight when I wake up, and I'm going to set the angle off that on the new one over here, and then I know that they're exactly the same, and the rear end's going to be sitting in there the same way that it was, the same angle that it was. In my opinion, pinion angle won't change, hopefully. But yeah, just cut all the shock mounts off. I'll probably like take a flap disc and clean all that up. Might leave this little deal on there just to hold my brake lines. But yeah, man, moving right along. Progress, progress. Ow. Look at that shit. Looks dope. Hell yeah. Can't wait to get some Hoosiers on this thing too. See how that looks. Maybe get like some 14 wides or something and stretch some Hoosiers out on it. But yep, now I'm rambling again. So here she is, guys. Moving right along. All right, I figured I'd mention this. The wheel tubs I ordered aren't going to be here in time, so I canceled that order, and I have decided to attempt to make my own, which first time doing this, so hopefully it goes well. All I did was measure how big I wanted them in the bed, and then I wanted 38 long, I guess you would say, by, I wrote it down up here, let's see, by 15 wide by 18.5 high. 18.5 high gets me just under that a little lip right there. So I wanted to just put a tack up top right there, and then that way it holds it up top right there also. But all I did was you measure what you want. Let's see. You want 18 and a half high. I don't know if that's what I said, but that's what it is. And then you just hold your tape, 18 and a half, that's not it. And then I just went around and made little dots, and then you just connect it all the way around. That way it's even all the way around from your center point. Center point is 19. And yeah, I came up with that. It looks pretty parallel and everything, equal all the way around. It should be, because I measured it. And then once I cut this template out, I'll take my tape and measure all the way around that. And that'll give me how long I need to make the flat piece to actually go over the wheel. And I have a roller at work. I'm gonna go in there and hopefully they'll allow me to use that. So yeah, gonna head over to my parents. My dad has a couple sheet metal pieces that I gave him. I believe it's 16 gauge, fingers crossed. But that's what I'm gonna make them out of. 18's a little too thin for my liking. I feel like if you kick them on accident or sit something on them with a little bit of weight that they would dent. So going with 16 gauge might be a little heavy, but oh well. I need weight in the back anyways to get it to squat on the launch. So yeah, we'll pick back up once I get the metal and trace it onto the metal and get them cut out. The rear end's over here too. I haven't done that yet, but it's also the next step. Moving right along. Come on. All right, I think I mentioned I was gonna make my own wheel tubs because the ones that I ordered were not gonna be in time. So I went ahead and had a program made up in here at work, cut it out on the laser. Steady. This is straight, square, not gonna have to worry about much. So I'll go ahead and roll a couple and yeah, show you what I'm doing. Alright, and I've got it set up to where if I do it one way and then flip it around, do it the other way, comes out right at 38 inches, which is what I need. And there's still a little play in there, so I can expand it and shrink it a little bit if I need to. It's only 16 gauge, but hell yeah, moving right along, getting these wheel tubs made up. Pick up when I get back home and get in the garage. Alright, got her all tacked up. Man, it looks huge once you get it together, but I want a big one, so get what he asked for. All I did was tack these little flat stock metal onto my weld table, measured 38 inches, and then you can push this together or stretch it out, whatever you need to do to achieve 38 inches, and then throw that piece in and I'll tack it like I did. I had to cut that a little bit down there, unfortunately, because I guess something messed up with the program that I had made, and it was 19 inches instead of 18.5, so that sucks because they're all gonna be like that, but it's not that big a deal. It just took me a little extra time with the plasma and had to grind it back down, but yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I'm gonna throw this one up in the truck and try to get a rough estimate of the outline, and then put the other one up there, tack the other one together, and get them in the truck. Let's go. All right, well, they're both in there. I got them pretty much tacked in, a little more than tacked, but still got a, you can see my note to myself, weld more on the inside and go ahead and seam seal around like over there and stuff. And then I'm just gonna seam seal around the bed, and then I'll grind down all those welds over the arc and hit it with the DA. And then I've got some bed liner that I'm gonna brush on there / spray on there just to get the spots that I can't get with the brush with the spray can. But yeah, man, this shit's a lot of work. it's more work than the frame and relocating the leaf springs, to be honest. If you want to do it right, I learned my lesson on the first one. I cut that one a little bit big and then went over to the passenger side and got that as a little bit more of a snug fit. But yeah, man, moving right along. I got the sliders in today. Ordered some double adjustable QA1s to put on the rear. After I get these wheel tubs wrapped up, I'm gonna pull the bed back off, finish up the rear mounts on the leaf springs, and move right along. I gotta take my rear end to Mosier because the guy in town can't spline axles, and I don't want to get new ones because the ones I have haven't broke yet. So why get new ones? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So Mosier's about 2 hours away. I'm gonna try to run them up there Tuesday. Run the rear end up there Tuesday. The gears came in. Pinion yoke also. The 390 gears, and then here's that Herculiner. Spread that shit on there. Here's the sliders. Not as big as I thought, but I don't know, man. Is that worth 90 bucks to you? Maybe I just see how it's made and know how you make this, and not really worth 90 bucks a piece to me, but whatever, they'll work. I don't have a way to bend metal, so it'll work. Yeah, that's about it for now. Come back out here tomorrow and finish up these wheel tubs. Man, it's time consuming, but holler back when I get these all seam sealed and coated and everything, and pull the bed back off. All right, I have got the wheel tubs all finished up. They are all seam sealed in, and I went ahead and resprayed the whole bed because I just did the tubs, and it didn't look right because the old stuff that was in there is probably at least 10 years old, and it was a little faded. It wasn't as black as the stuff on the tubs and the sides, so I went ahead and resprayed the whole bed, which was not cheap. But that part is done finally. Man, that took a lot longer than I wanted to. I cut it a little big on the side, so I had to weld some filler plates in there, which I'm not too excited about, but it is what it is. It's in there, it's solid. It's not going anywhere. About to pull the bed back off and start working on these rear mounts. It'll mount up like that, and then the leaf spring obviously go on there. Just gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna get these underneath the frame, because the other ones right there, they were on the side of the frame, and those are for like cars and shit, but a little custom work, I can get her done. But yeah, I'm about to pull the bed back off and get at that, because these days are winding down. I think today's the 15th, so I got 15 days to get this thing all wrapped up, which it's not full days, it's just when I'm not out here, or when I'm not at work, I'm out here, so trying to bust as much ass as I can in the time that I have. I dropped the rear end off at Mosier because the guy in town could not respline axles, which Mosier said they don't know if they can respline those axles either. And if they can't, because they're tapered, maybe, they don't know for sure. But if they can't do it, they're just gonna go ahead and make their axles work in my rear end, which is a little better, honestly. I think I'd rather have some, I think they said it was like 3150 grade something steel, which is, he said it was 30% stronger than stock, which is never a bad thing. So dropped that off Tuesday. Today's Friday. They said it'd be 3 to 4 days, so I'm hoping they call me today. But even if they do, I probably won't be able to make it there by 5 because they close at 5. Probably run down there Monday and pick up the rear end. Maybe I'll try to get a little video in there. I don't know how it'll be about me filming in there, but yeah, moving right along. This will probably be the end of this video, and then I'll do part 3 of like the finalization of everything, and sitting it back on the ground, getting the gas tank back up in the bed, which I'm just gonna put it in the bed for now. Can't really get a fuel cell and get it up in there and get it how I want in time, I don't think, and all that. I know all that shit will work, so just gonna go that route, which my dad's probably not gonna like, but oh well. It's gonna work for now, and as long as it sends fuel up to the rails, we good. So yeah, this will be the end of part 2. Look out for part 3.